Other matchups. We have a lands mirror in the legacy seat, you know?
Ooh.
We talked that this happens, these terms. The premier teams like to play lands. In the middle seat, we have Jeskai Control versus Burn. Brian Coval versus Michael Egolf. I have to think that one's solidly in Coval's favor.
Yeah, you generally like Jeskai in that kind of matchup. Lightning Helix, quite the card.
He's even playing Sphinx's Revelation. All right, turn 2, Scrap Heap Scrounger from Bastecki. No black mana just yet. And then you might be, if I'm on Colin's side, okay, your opponent's played Sheltered Thicket, Mountain, Scrap Heap Scrounger. Are you sure what's going on here?
I mean, reasonable conclude that it's some kind of Jund mid-range deck.
Yeah.
Unlikely to be an aggressive deck, a straight aggressive deck at this point.
Yeah, the Scrapping Scrounger will get Fatal pushed away. I mean, there's no creature in the graveyard, and also there's no swamp in play yet. All right, Merfolk Branchwalker shows Glorybringer.
No more secrets anymore. Pretty clear what's happening at this point. Even if you don't know the list exactly, you know what the general strategy is.
Yeah, we've been calling these, we saw some of this last week, green-red monsters. Yes, there are black cards in it. By that we mean, yes, you can activate Scrap Heap Scrounger.
You see,
this deck did not place any copies in the top 8 of the Open, but in the Classic, we actually had a couple players playing it.
ooh,
Tetsamok is coming.
it's coming.
Yeah. Now, Alex missed the 3rd land there.
Yeah, you see, you put the Glorybringer into the
Yeah.
graveyard for that reason, but missing on 3 that's going to make Stiles' job a lot easier.
Glint Sleeve Siphoner is the follow-up for Colin as Tetsamok. So Tetsamok puts prey counters on your opponent's things, and then when he comes into play, he destroys everything that it has a prey counter on it.
He has a reasonable... So there's only one Tetsamok here. I was talking to Ross Miriam earlier today. He likes having 2 so that you can have 1 in your hand and 1 to Scarab God back. So you get a little discount.
Okay. Magma Spray takes care of the Siphoner and a swing for 3, but that's all Alex has right now. He does leave up a Braid mana. And land foreign pass for Stiles. A pickup of Scrap Heap Scrounger from Alex. He'll swing. He's still missing the black mana. He doesn't have much to do with his lands right now. Goes for Scrounger. Colin's fine with that. Do we have Glimmer of Geniuses? Maybe Hieroglyphic Illuminations? Okay, here's a Glimmer.
2 glimmers, no illuminations.
So very light on the card draw.
These decks tend to be pretty creature heavy. Again, there's the 8x energy creatures, the Siphoners, the Virtuosos.
Yeah.
Couple copies of Ravenous Chupacabra, 3 Scarab Gods, 2 Torrential Gearhawks, and a Tetsamok.
Yeah, looking at it, it's just all over the place with the numbers. There's a lot of 3s and 2s. But things still seem to be okay for Colin. He's at 14 life. You see him getting to untap here and passes. I like where he's sitting at the moment.
Yeah, as long as when Grixis has reasonable spells available and is making all of its land drops,
Right.
it's close to, if not the best deck in Standard right now.
Wrath of Contempt exiles away the Scrounger, so Colin will gain 2, then take 3, so he loses 1. But Alex just has no place. He's stuck on 3 lands. He's also been caught with a lot of reaction in his hand. 2 copies of a Braid.
Yikes. A Braid has targets. It's just not a very good spell in the matchup.
Yeah, and this is one of the worries when you play against Control, is that Colin just takes some damage, removes some things, and now has cast a copy of the Scarab God.
And you recall that earlier in the game, Bastecki explored Glorybringer into the graveyard.
Yep.
If Stiles is able to untap and Scarab God that, it's going to be lights out.
Yes. He drew Pia Nalar. Yeah, he's only got Colin down to 13. That's not enough. Scarab God just really having become... It feels like with the bannings having happened, Scarab God is just... I mean, it was already the best 5-mana card you could play in Standard, and it's really cemented its spot.
There's a lot less that can go wrong for you as a Scarab God player.
Yeah.
Fewer Rogue Refiners to slog through with your other cards.
So when in doubt, attack. Alex will send the Merfolk through. That's for 3 damage. He's gotten Colin to 10. He'll play Pianoir, but I don't know. Things are going to get ugly. You just can't let people untap with this card.
No.
And he's got a Fatal Push. Oh my. Merfolk is down. Yeah, you might see upkeep. I agree. I like Glorybringer here.
You can even just get the Branch Walker if you're interested in filtering your draws a little bit. Exploring with the Scarab God's kind of nice.
He'll just draw. Doesn't need to do it on upkeep. He can get more information. A little surprised he's casting another card rather than using Scarab God, but that's fine. Chandra will be good. I guess if he pluses Chandra for mana, he can do everything, and that's what he'll do. Chandra pluses makes mana, brings back Glorybringer. Glorybringer is eternalized. It's going to attack, exert.
That's a scary turn.
Yeah, this is a bunch of damage.
And especially given the mana woes, Bastecki's deck can't reasonably come back from this.
Yeah, he takes damage, goes down to 12. Make that 11 from the Scarab God trigger. He needs to deal 10 damage right here. I don't know that he has that.
I can't even bring back Scrap Heap Scrounger.
Attacks for 1. It's got Colin to 9. Here's another Merfolk. That is not enough. Gets a land. Cool. It's in his hand.
How lucky.
Yeah. He'll play it. And yeah, he knows. You can see it on his face. He's going to pass. So Glorybringer has exerted itself. It's not going to untap.
And for Bastecki's deck, there's really nothing you can do against these large creatures in the battlefield without 2 for 1ing yourself.
Here's Tetzimok. Chandra will help him cast Tetzimok. That will kill all of Alex's creatures.
This is another combination.
Great.
Chandra
Great.
plus Tetzimok.
Great, Alex takes a hit, goes down to some number, and then picks up his cards. All right, game 1 goes to Colin Stiles playing Grixis Energy. It's the second time we've really seen a deck with Scarab God versus a deck without Scarab God. Man.
You got to close quickly against the Scarab God.
Yeah, especially if you don't have one of your own. That's brutal. So players are going to pick up their sideboards. And we'll look and see what Alex can do to fight against the Grixis deck in just a minute when we return. So we're back here as Alex Bastecki and Colin Stiles get ready for their second game. Some bad news for the team here of Stagno, Coval, and Bastecki, all 3 of them dropping their game 1s. But we'll see if Alex can right the ship first. So his sideboard in this matchup is 3 copies of Chandra, Torch of Defiance, 2 Deathgorge Scavengers. That'd be the second and third copies. He has one in the main. 2 Chandra's Defeat, 2 Naturalized, 2 Sweltering Suns, 2 Struggle to Survive, a Direfleet Daredevil, and a Thrashing Brontodon.
So the only card that I really like any amount here, I think it's going to be the Chandra Torch of Defiance. Which is another card that's kind of hard to answer, can generate some value. The rest of the stuff is just for different matches. A bunch of answers to small creatures, to mono-red creatures, artifacts, enchantments. The big pressure for Bastecki is to just get a hand that can actually play Magic better. You want to get on the table. He does start with Scrappy Founder, and this time he does have the
Blooming Marsh. It gets hit by Fatal Push, though. And especially when the Grixis deck is just trying to survive until Scarab God, it's kind of okay if Alex wants to bring back a Scrounger on turn 5 or something like that. Colin's more okay with it.
Scrounger by itself is solvable. Scrounger is generally a problem when it has a couple friends.
Yes. So some options here on turn 3 for Alex Bastecki. He has Ronus in his hand and also has his sideboard copy of Thrashing Brontodon. That's the 3/4 for 1 green that can sacrifice to naturalize something. He'll go for Ronus. Is there a specific card you feel like he's boarded that in for, or does he just want another 3/4 in the matchup?
3/4 is reasonable. You know, you can't Fatal Push it. It gets around a Braid.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a pinch, you can sacrifice it to destroy a Torrential Gearhulk.
11 a.m. Standard players, your parents.
So Whirler Virtuoso, play for Colin. He'll get 3 energy. And here is Rekindling Phoenix, one of our cards out of Rivals of Ixalan. That by itself is going to go ahead and allow Ronus to attack. So this is a 4/3. And much like Phoenixes do, they come back to life. So when it dies, he'll get a 0/1 Elemental token with that says, at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it and bring back Rekindling Phoenix. It gains haste. So you have to kill it twice. You have to kill it and then break the egg before it hatches out again.
Right. Or exile the Phoenix from the graveyard.
Yes.
That one, I don't think you're going to see.
That's a really weird flavor, but yes. So it looks like Colin's going to go ahead here, and he blocked away the Whirler Virtuoso on Ronus. And no 4th land. He's going to pass. That is a green light for Alex Bastecki.
For Stiles, it looks like he has Vraska's Contempt and Hour of Devastation in hand.
Ooh, okay.
It's a good hand, but he might die before he can get online.
Glorybringer will exert to take care of the token. Phoenix will be shot down by a Braid. It turns into the Elemental. There we go. Brian Coval token. It's close enough.
It's got some wings or something.
I think they've taken the Brian Coval tokens and they've decorated them to be the appropriate token they've wanted. They've scribbled out Monk and written Elemental on it. That's awesome. For legibility, we're going to use the actual Elemental token right now, but that is pretty cool.
Rekindling Phoenix is a card that was a lot better than I originally thought that it was going to be. I've been tricked by cards of this nature that weren't good before.
Yeah.
But this one's been pretty impressive.
We got to be careful, though. The Hour of Devastation in Colin's hand actually could recover him on this board.
He's going to want to Contempt the Phoenix first. Having this 4th land enter the battlefield tapped was a problem.
Well, he's not going to get the chance. So Alex swings for 9. Collins has no blocks. He was hoping Alex would try to make lethal with the Ronus activation, and then he'd have a response, maybe. But instead, he just says, okay, go to 2, play Chandra, plus it, get you.
Yep. And we're going to game 3.
Yeah, and that's where the power of this Green Red Monsters deck is, and why originally I said I think this actually has a lot of game against control, is that each of Alex's threats individually are just must answers. You know, it's doing this Jund thing where it's mono good cards.
And a lot of them actually kind of demand an answer like Vraska's Contempt. So the more you can tax those cards.
I mean, didn't you feel that game where you looked at Ronus into Phoenix and you just were thinking like, man, if Colin has Contempt into Contempt, he's probably good, but you know, he wishes he was playing like 9 of them, and he also has to hit land 4 on turn 4, which is not free.
Right, exactly.
All right, players are going to shuffle up quickly. We'll be back in just a minute with game number 3. All right, so we're back here. Player's about to start game number 3. Looking at Colin's sideboard. Negate, Search for Escanta, Moment of Craving, Abrade, Chandra, Fatal Push, Hour of Devastation, we saw that. Golden Demise, Magma Spray, Vraska's Contempt.
4th Contempt,
Yep.
Obviously great. Hour of Devastation answers a lot of the stuff here. We saw it's in. Magma Spray is pretty good. Answers Scrap Heap, Scrounger cleanly. May as well play the last Fatal Push.
It's hard to sideboard against a Jund style deck without just becoming a Jund deck yourself.
Something that I find a bit interesting here is that we have 4 Fatal Push in the 3-color mana base, but we're not touching on Evolving Wilds, not even 1 copy. And the deck is light on basic lands. But this does make you a little bit worse against 3-mana creatures, 4-mana creatures.
Sure.
You can still hit that Elemental token off the Phoenix if you can abrade the Phoenix itself first, though.
John Freeman, your commander event is ready to begin. Please make your way up to side event registration.
Which is a play I'm sure happens more often than the Grixis players would like.
10 a.m. sealed players, your round 3 pairings are being posted. Once again, players in the 10 a.m. sealed spectacular, your pairings for round number 3 are going up.
Lands traded starting turns for each player. See, Colin with Glint Sleeve Siphoner. And this actually, I like this card more in the post-sideboard games because I'm not sure how much removal Alex has kept in his deck.
Yes. Yeah, it's a lot easier to actually start drawing cards with the Siphoners.
We saw one of them just hit a removal spell game 1. I don't think that'll happen here as he swings in for 2.
Yeah, the Siphoner is one of very few things that you really even want to use a removal spell on in the deck. When it comes to Whirler Virtuoso, it's not a great target.
A swing for 3 puts Colin down to 17. Now, I got to have a glimpse of Colin's hand, and I really like where it's headed. He's got both Essence Scatter and Vraska's Contempt in his hand. These unconditional, these actually line up very well. So we see Jade Light Ranger being countered with Essence Scatter.
It's a good one to counter.
Yeah.
Won't draw any extra cards.
Draws an extra card off Glincy Siphoner, and it looks like Colin got a second Vraska's Contempt.
That's a good one. Plenty of black mana. Mana base shaping up very nicely.
And another Siphoner, so now this is great. He's just, you see, goes up to 2 energy. Okay, actually just goes down to 1. He did miss his first trigger in the judge rules. He only gets the 1 on enters the battlefield.
He's got enough cards.
Yeah, and especially if we can just start chaining these Contempts, that's going to be very good. Alex cast that Phoenix right into the graveyard. Another Scatter. So yeah, multiple Essence Scatters into multiple Vraska's Contempts. That's just the perfect recipe here to be signing up for behind these Glint Sleeve Siphoners. I'm into what's happening.
Yeah, these spells are very good on their own. The Siphoners represent an actually pretty quick clock.
Yeah.
And they draw extra cards.
Right, they're a clock. They're the card advantage. They're drawing you into unconditional removal. This is perfect.
Phyrexian Arena that attacks is a really nice card.
Yeah. One of his removal spells gain him life. There's just, everything's great here. Plenty of cards left in Alex's hand.
Deck's full of a lot of 4s and 5s, and the hand's a little glutted with them. I think Rekindling Phoenix, Glory Bringer among the holdings. Anything just kind of trades all your mana for Vraska's Contempt. On Stiles' following turn, gets to draw another extra card off these Siphoners, crack in for 4. Scrounger, of course, can't ever block. So it's just a 3-turn clock, assuming that Stiles doesn't add to his clock.
Scrounger swings in. Colin will drop to 10. Here's Phoenix. So the reason you'd want to play that post-combat. And it gets Vraska's Contempt anyway.
There's the option that Stiles maybe uses a Contempt on the Scrap Heap Scrounger.
Okay. Colin gains 2, now takes 1, draws an additional card.
Yeah. If the Phoenix itself had haste before coming back, that'd be a different equation.
Okay. Oh yeah, right. It only actually has haste when it comes out of the egg.
Right.
Okay. Swing in puts Alex down to 8, and Colin will just pass. He now has Fatal Push, Vraska's Contempt. I think 2 more Siphoners as his last cards.
Mana to cast the Push and the Contempt. Whatever comes down here, Contempt it. Push the Scrounger.
Yeah, this is great. I don't know about those 2 more Siphoners. I don't think he'll really use those, but whatever. He's doing fine.
There's certainly worse cards to have than that.
He's just drawn so many extra cards. And you see it's kind of now Alex's hand shaping up to be a couple lands, a Glory Bringer. This graveyard that Colin's going to have built of 2 Scatters, 2 Contempts with 2 Siphoners in play is just really well positioned.
Yes. Any kind of mid-range deck is going to struggle with this.
Yeah. Here's Fatal Push for the Scrounger. Alex is going to have to put it in the bin. He can't really protect it. He's going to play a land, cast. Okay, this is out of his sideboard. It's Direfleet Daredevil. And he'll cast Collins' own Vraska's Contempt against him, removing the Siphoner. Alex will gain 2, go to 10. I do like this card out of the sideboard. I think against a hand that wasn't as good as Collins is, this might have been a game-changing play.
It is kind of nice that it allows you to have access to Vraska's Contempt against this Scarab God deck.
Yeah.
Glincy of Siphon are not the ideal target.
It also really wasted Collins' turn. Colin was hoping to use that other Vraska's Contempt on something here, but not going to do it to a 2-1.
Yeah.
10 each as Colin draws an extra card. He swings in to put Alex down to 8. And he'll just cast Scarab God. But here's a window for Alex to get some damage in.
He still has that Glory Bringer in hand.
He does. Now, just has lands and Glorybringer, and Colin's still at 10. I don't think he actually has enough to make an impact, but he'll try.
Would be nice if the Daredevil has Menace, but that's just a first striker, so it doesn't have a good attack
and isn't there a bigger problem here? Look how much power's on, like Alex is at 8. There's 7 power on Colin's side. There's a Scarab God trigger about to happen. Alex may not be able to survive the turn.
Yeah, he has to deal with some of this because the Scarab God just makes a zombie in the upkeep. He can use the Daredevil to block the Scarab God, assuming that it survives. That's probably his best plan in this game.
Glorybringer swings for 4. I like this. It's probably a losing line, but he knows that he has to try to win in some fashion.
Right.
So he gets Colin down to 6. Now Colin has exiled most of the graveyards, so he doesn't have too many options for Scarab God. He'll draw an extra card. And now a lot of pressure here. Brian Coval, Bastecki's teammate, has lost in Modern 2-1. So Colin Stiles, looking like this game win will win the round for his team.
Yes. And it's very much looking like he is going to win this game.
Yeah. Their team also ahead on the legacy table. They won the game 1 of the lands mirror. They have the lands list that's better out of the sideboard as well. So just ahead on all fronts.
Yes. Yeah, looking to be a sweep. Stiles not only has that Vraska's Contempt, he also picked up a Torrential Gearhulk.
Great. Now there's no Vraska's Contempt left in his graveyard, so there's that.
6th land did enter the battlefield tapped, so he couldn't Gearhulk just yet, but that's fine.
So he's just going to say go.
I think I would have liked to have seen an attack with the Siphoner.
Yeah, I mean... This is probably a game-winning line, but it seems a little conservative.
Yes.
That said, if it's he'll do fine here.
Right. There's not a ton in the way of ground creatures with haste in standard. Theoretically, this could be a deck that casts or gets those cards out of hand and has Hazoret on this turn. So you're hedging a little bit against that.
Yeah, there actually are no Hazarets in Alex's deck. He casts Deathguard Scavenger. But I mean, this format, right now, this archetype, the one that Alex is playing, is still enough up in the air that you should. Yeah. It could happen.
It's week 2, you know.
Yeah.
And also, Stiles is not going to lose this game by hanging back. Not just yet, anyway. A few more things would have to change first.
Here's Vraska's Contempt. Exiles Glorybringer, Stiles up to 7.
And here he'll be able to untap with Torrential Gearhulk mana.
Yeah. I kind of like that. So I think what he did is he had the tapped land, he drew the Gearhulk, and then decided, okay, I'm just going to cast this Vraska's Contempt every turn, and that will be good enough.
Right. Yeah, this Gearhulk should close.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll make some kind of attack here as well. Between the Gearhulk's blocking ability... I mean, I guess he doesn't have to.
Yeah, his attacks are not as good as last turn's attack with the Siphoner would have been. Yeah, right now, Bastecki could put both of his creatures in front of either of these, and that would kind of force Stiles to use a removal spell. You could use the Siphoner and just kind of trade with the Gorger, that's fine. A double block here, and then Gearhulk removal spell is probably a winning line.
Still staying with Scarab God. Can't imagine Alex can block.
From 10, it's hard not to, though.
He'll go to 5. Yeah, the Gearhulk just... I don't know. It's going to be real hard to beat.
Yep. Last card in hand, I believe, is another land. Yeah, basic forest.
Let's give it one more try here. Draws, Sheltered Thicket.
Yikes. If only Searing Flesh was legal.
That would have been a great draw. Perfect. Fireball. Fireball down. You play the mountain and just fireball him.
Yeah.
Just make it blaze just for the rubbins. Just bad fireball.
I like a Banefire. You do not get in because of the Gearhulk Vraska's Contempt, though.
Oh, that doesn't even work, does it? Demon Fire, because he'd be Hellbent. That would power it up. No, none of these work.
He's not ferocious, so he couldn't claws, whatever the claws is.
Oh, yeah.
Crater's claws.
Crater's claws. I think all the blade, all the red X's. Over 2 turns, you can kill him with a Devil's Play.
Yeah. Bastecki did pick up a Glory Bringer.
Okay, I mean that's a great draw, but I don't think it wins.
It's either going to get Essence Scattered or Vraska's Contempted.
All right, I'll cast it.
Probably Contempted.
I mean, 3 resolved Vraska's Contempts is just hard for Alex's deck to deal with, and that's what this one's going to be.
Right, this is a matchup where the Contempt trades even or trades up on mana.
He says, yeah, it resolves, that's fine. And Alex got no, yeah, he's in trouble. And this attack should do it. He gets to, let's see how all he attacks. I mean, he just can't beat the Gearhulk here. The Gearhulk on Vraska's Contempt is going to win the game.
Yes.
Regardless of what attack he makes.
Yep.
So he's going to swing. Gearhulk, Vraska's Contempt removes a blocker. There's 2 5-power. See, he doesn't actually have to kill the dragon there. He can just take the hit and kill a blocker, and then he wins.
Correct.
I don't think it will cost him the game, but that play was not optimal.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Now he just brings back something with the Scarab. It's fine. This wins too. Here's J-Light Ranger. Yeah, I can't even call it a misplay because this line was on the board and it is also lethal, so sure,
Yeah.
fine.
Finds Fatal Push, easy.
Yep. He'll keep it and cast it and kill something and attack and win the game. So that's going to be game and match. The team of Eric Ratkowski, Michael Egolf, and Colin Stiles. They are your winners. They take the modern and standard matches. The Landsmere over on the Legacy side, unfinished. I know, shocker. It's not going to finish today, though.